So, the theme of today's podcast is going to be Langston Hughes and the Harlem Renaissance. I do think that this is appropriate because it was the type of reason that I'm starting this podcast is because I want my own personal rebirth. You know, I've been creating music for a long time now. Maybe I should start with an introduction. Like I said, when I started the podcast, my name's Anonymous the Author. I'm a hip hop musician here local to Cincinnati, Ohio. That's right here in the Midwest. We're in the southern part, right by Kentucky. A little bit of North and South flavor. We are somewhat of a budding scene here. From what I hear and understand, had a movie or two shot in downtown, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, I'm a hip hop musician here. I do a lot of writing. I'll do a little bit of everything here around the city. Act a little bit, do some music, shoot some videos. I just like to be involved. And I'm starting this podcast because I've always had an interest in poetry and writing. So I figure if anyone's listening out there who themselves is a poet or has been looking for some books or some kind of motivation or really just looking for a life change, I really wanted to create a podcast that, you know, that could be kind of like a conversation between me and everybody out there that hopefully I can motivate some people to start writing. Some of you fans out there can start writing. Hopefully you're fans of the show. Can be some fans and help you guys to start writing or, anything that I can really do to affect somebody's life in the positive. I feel like that's always needed and that's always warranted. I'm sure there are other podcasts out there that do something like this, but I haven't heard of them local to my city, so I figure why not, you know? The closest is always the most powerful and the most impact. So, as I said, this podcast is the Anonymous Author Podcast. I do feel like every episode we're going to have some kind of theme, and I'm going to read you either a short poem by an author or a writer or a quote or some kind of scene. You know, we're going to have different kind of creators and different kind of themed episodes. I'm hoping in the future we can get some interviews with some creators. Hopefully they can share with how they go through their processes, and hopefully that can pass on to you guys, and you can use it in your own personal life, or maybe even just enjoy the content. I will be having some of my own personal music on here, music by Boltnick Media. This podcast is sponsored by Boltnick Media. That is the company that I am currently signed to. And if you are interested in sponsoring or hosting any kind of podcast, please email boltneckmedia@outlook.com, boltneckmedia@outlook.com. Reach out to them, and I'm sure they will set something up, and I look forward to partnering with anybody who's interested. Flowing in my jeans, got the game sold in ham, sold verses, but not sold out for going in. So nothing ever really changes. Cash is clay. So once again, we will be having some themed episodes, but mainly this is going to be kind of loose and free. I said all that to act like I have a whole structure, I have a whole concept, I have a whole plan, but I really don't. We're going to see how much we can stay on the rails, but this might just devolve into me screaming into the microphone, shaking my fist in the air. So we'll just try to stay the most positive that we can. So on the topic of Langston Hughes and the Harlem Renaissance, I think that during this important part of our life and during this time, during this era, I do think that free speech is a very important part of this American way of life that we have. I know this is the first episode and we getting deep already, y'all. I know. But I do think that free speech is more important than... No, I'm going to just say it like this. I do think that free speech is important. I'm not going to say it's more important than anything. It's just very important. I would say that I lean left, but I mean, I do believe in the Second Amendment right. I mean, I'm here in America, you know what I'm saying? I'm here in the Midwest, and, you know, let's just say I've shot a couple guns before. I don't own any legally. Let's just say that like that. And that's just how we get down here in the Midwest. It's nothing vindictive, nothing evil, nothing wrong with owning a gun. It's all about how you choose to use it. If you use it for hunting, I mean, hey, nothing wrong with that. I support you. But free speech to me is on that same level. Like, it's just something that we have to have. If you're offended by what somebody says, then you are totally entitled to retaliate against that person, in my eyes. Now you're going to have to deal with you're gonna have to deal with what comes out of that. But if you feel like that they upset you to the point that you got to put your hands on them, then put your hands on them, man. But to me, words should never push you over the limit to where you're like, okay, I gotta react physically and violently. They're just words, sticks and stones. Shout out Dave Chappelle and that special, Sticks and Stones. I don't know if the people critiquing it understood sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Like he was intentionally doing that stuff to be offensive, and they just bid on it. And I think it's kind of cool that he did it in a way that even though people were mad, he's so big that, he's not even so big. It's just that he's independent and he got his money and then did the special. So it's like, you really can't, he got his money, but he out of there. If he chooses to do another special, he does. But if not, he made his money already. So I think that was a very smart choice. I think that the people that are stuck with like network and TV shows have to watch what they say. Like not every TV show, because you do have, one-offs where like some people, like a Faison Love will say whatever he want to say regardless of what's going on, and he's still getting movie deals because that's who he is. But like people who come up in that light, like who are always been stars, who've never been known as having their own free opinion, I think they'll always be stuck in having to say what their bosses tell them to say. And I mean, hey, if you feel like chasing the bag is worth it, then you do it. But I mean, I'm gonna speak my mind and I'm gonna speak my piece. And I feel like free speech is very important to this American lifestyle, to this American way of life. And it's like, no matter what happens, we Americans, we have to stick up for the things that are very basic in this country. Now, you can't use your words to incite violence against somebody. I mean, that's just basic. You can't create a march to say, hey, we're going to kill, you can't create a Nazi party. You know what I mean? You can't do that. But if you can't give your own opinion about something, I mean, what's the point? We all don't have to agree. I might not agree with what you have to say, but I mean, I'll defend to the death your right to say it. I mean, that's a basic. You know what I mean? So I do think that in this day and age, free speech is always appreciated. I feel like art is art. If you choose to create something, then that is even more that you should have the right to do that. I know that sounds ridiculous, but you should not have any shackles on you when you're creating something. And then you let the public judge it. I mean, that's the thing. You can't say, hey, I want my free speech. Okay, say whatever you want to say. And then people are like, oh, man, you said, hey, I got my free speech. It's like, yeah, but we can still react. And that's why I think so many people get it messed up is that, like, I consider myself on the left. But where the left has it wrong is that people can say what they want to say. Like, it's been this cancel culture where it's like these social justice warriors like, hey, you can't say that, or we'll cancel you, or we'll get you out of here. It's like, I mean, that's fine. You're the consumer, so if you feel like you don't like them, you could take away. But when you start petitioning these companies and saying, hey, he's racist and all this, it's like, you don't have to enjoy it, but can't other people enjoy it? And then on the right, they say that the government should be able to interfere with like Twitter and Facebook and say, hey, you can't take these people off of here because they are exercising their free right to speech. It's like, yeah, but these are private companies. You know what I mean? And I've heard the argument, well, they've just gotten so big that it's a public, it's like a public domain. Everyone uses it, so the government has to regulate it. Are we really going to give the government more power, fam? I mean, come on, fam. Like I said, I consider myself left, but I don't even fuck with the government, bruh. I don't even trust the government, bruh. I can't do it. I do not mess with the government on any level. So to have them try to interfere and regulate these social medias, I'm like, just create your own social media. Like, create your own following, your basic core, so that if you do get kicked off of these places, you can go somewhere else and make your money, because really the only complaint is that you forcing them to lose money. And I don't want to say I come from the bottom, but I come from some shitty, terrible situations, and I know what it's like to be at the bottom. And if you making $20,000 a year off your residual dividend, you're not living that bad, fam. I come from the Midwest. We get by on $30K a year. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a good year for some people out here. Not saying they survive well, but I can't really feel bad for these people that's making 200-300 million, 200-300 million over years and years, and then they all of a sudden stop, and it's like, oh, feel bad for them. It's like, I don't know about that, bro. You sounding real elitist, bro. That's what you sounding like. You sounding real elitist, bro. You sound like you crying in the back of your McLaren, man. Like you sound like you just, you know what I'm saying? You got on your Gucci boots. You wiping away tears with the Louis Vuitton rag. Like I don't know if I feel that bad for you, bro. But I do feel like people should have free speech. I do feel like you can say what you want to say. If you sound an ass, let the people judge you and you be an ass. And then people can stop messing with you. And then that's the end of it. And then you realize that you were wrong. Or maybe you section off a core following that really likes you. But I feel like idiots should be allowed to reveal their idiocracy. I do. So, yeah. Once again, following the theme of the Harlem Renaissance, all of that just to say that art should not be shackled. If you're going through a rebirth, if you're going through creation, if you're going to express yourself like a Langston Hughes and use your thoughts and mind to create something, you shouldn't be shackled by any kind of PC or I need to lean or walk this way. I feel like you should be able to express yourself to the fullest of your ability, as long as you're not inciting violence. I must be everything I can dream, every scene I can see.